It's so good to take this time with you. So good to ask you all what's new. It's just so good to say, I like you just the way you are. Hello there. Welcome to Conversations with Gregory. Hello once again. And today I want to talk about how it's okay to feel sad. Sadness is something that we all feel, whether it's just having a bad day, or losing a loved one, or just not feeling the greatest, maybe even being a bit sick. Oftentimes we feel sad when our needs, or what we think we need, isn't being met. Whether it's having time with the people that we love, or even just feeling sad for no reason, or at least nothing that we understand. Oftentimes, sadness can feel scary, can be scary, can lead to dark and dangerous thoughts that none of us should really have to or be feeling. But even then, it's natural to be sad. Let me tell you more. There once was a man named Frank. Now, Frank had been dealing with a sadness he'd been experiencing for quite a while now. He didn't understand why he felt sad. Was it because he didn't like his job? Or maybe it was because his wife and family didn't seem to be spending as much time with him anymore. Maybe it had been the loss of his mother a few weeks ago. Either way, Frank felt very sad and very alone. Sometimes Frank would have thoughts that would scare him. Thoughts about hurting people, maybe even hurting himself. And that is when he knew he needed to find someone to talk to be able to get the help he needed and not avoid feeling sad, but to understand why he was sad and understand how to deal with that sadness in a positive manner. Now, the story that I just told you is a story like many of us. We go through life and we're happy for a period of time, and then something might happen. We had a fight with someone close to us. We got a bad grade or a bad report on our job. We lost a loved one. But in reaction to this, we become sad. Now, sadness is a natural thing. Sadness is something we all deal with, something we all feel. It's good sometimes to feel sad. Have you ever watched a movie and felt sad for a character in it that's going through a hard time? Maybe they're sick, or maybe they've lost their friends because it's part of the story, or something like that. Well, it's okay to feel that, because guess what? That special kind of sadness is called empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand someone else's emotions in a given moment. It's the ability to feel what another person is feeling right then. Now, oftentimes, we find ourselves feeling empathy when others are sad or when others are angry. And this is not necessarily bad, but it can be powerful. However, there are many other forms of sadness, including forms of sadness that do not come purely from emotions, but also from balances of chemicals produced within the brain. There are three main chemicals in the brain that control your mood, and when in imbalance, can even alter your mood to a varying level of degrees. The first chemical is called dopamine. Dopamine causes us to feel good. It's the stuff that is released when we're enjoying a piece of food, having fun playing a game, or anything else. It's basically a reward for doing something we enjoy. When you do something good, you're rewarded and gain a pleasurable, happy feeling. This teaches you to want to do that more. Serotonin, the second chemical, is associated with memory and learning. However, it also is related to anger, anxiety, depression, and panic, especially when this particular chemical is in imbalance. When the level of serotonin in your brain is affected, you may become depressed, anxious, or even angry just because of nothing other than a small trigger. And finally, we have norepinephrine, which is the chemical that basically moderates your mood when it comes to stress and anxiety as well. So between serotonin and norepinephrine, these two really control whether or not you're going to be anxious and stressed or whatever. So, sometimes our brains don't work as well as they should, and that's why we feel sad. But in those cases, there are treatments. We have psychiatrists that can prescribe medications to help with the imbalance. We have therapists that you can talk to in order to work through your problems and feel through your emotions, and then find ways to better cope with the situation. But what about regular sadness? What about common everyday sadness? How do I deal with that, you ask? Well, there are a few ways. Number one, realize and remember that the sadness you feel in a moment is temporary. The sadness you feel in the moment will only last as long as you allow it to last. And oftentimes, the sadness that you feel in that moment is a lot less powerful than it might seem. Our brains have a weird way of processing or perceiving things as bigger than they really are. This is often communicated as the phrase, making a mountain out of a molehill, making a matter seem bigger than it actually is. The same can be held true with the way that we react to our emotions and to our environment. When we are sad, sometimes we feel like it's the saddest we've ever felt, even if it's not. Or sometimes we feel like it's the happiest we've ever felt. And it very well could be. I mean, who am I to say how happy you've been in your life? But being sad is all part of being human. You can be sad and still feel happy later. Just don't let the sadness outweigh the happiness. Don't let the sadness take away from the happiness you feel. In that way, you can find true balance within yourself. Thank you so much for watching this episode of A Conversation with Gregory. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I love you very much. And I will see you guys again very soon.